So before we get into learning this, let's actually just look at the technical demands that we have in this piece. The first off is going to be this bar chord. We're just looking, because it is here, in section number 2, practice section 2, the second line. And so first off, let's look at this half capo 2. So the C, whenever you see a C and then a Roman numeral, the Roman numeral is the fret number, 1, 2. And the C means capo, which means use a bar with your finger like this. Now, whenever you have a half capo, it just means you only need 3 strings. And you'll sometimes see half capo, but really you need 4 strings. And some music gets really fussy and will have 2/3 capo, and it'll like really give you make it really exact, 5/6, something like that. It's in general, you can just look at the notes and just see what you need, and then do it from there. So this one will be bigger than this one. This one will be right here. This one will be all the way across, or at least to the 5th string, because we have the B in the bass. So to do this, just as a quick tutorial, for this one right here, for this one, what we do is we bar across. So we're going to put our thumb is going to be basically behind about the 3rd fret. And the index finger comes across and plays kind of on the back side, to where you're kind of tilted back like this, but then you have to bring it back forward because your pinky has to get all the way up to the 5th fret. And this happens a lot in this piece. This is this chord right here. And so this happens a lot. This is an A chord. It's like an A chord, but then we're putting a high A on it as well. And so then we have to bar that and put it up here. That's what's happening. And we'll oftentimes put the low open A with it. And so that's what happens. For this one right here, this is the one we have all the way across the 5th fret. Now, if you are not going to do these bar chords, what you can do is you can just play for this one, let's just take them individually. For this one, instead of doing the big bar, because you really don't need it for this chord, you need it for this note right here, which comes after. That's what you need it for. That's what makes the bar. But what you can do here is you can let go of this note when this happens and just switch your wand. And just do that. And that's totally acceptable as well. For this top one, for this one, if you don't want to do the bar, then you can just do the top 2 strings and you just don't play this note. So you just basically just play just those notes. And you just don't play the one that's barred. And that way you can avoid the bar. So it's completely up to you. The bar is going to add a little bit more, well, for this one it'll add more sustain to the bass. And for this one it'll add more richness in the interior voices. But the note that you're playing with the bar is an A, and we're already playing a low A and a high A. So that just gives it a middle A as well, which fills it out a little bit, but it's certainly not going to lack anything if you decide not to play it in that spot. And you'll see this throughout the entire piece. There's a lot of this 2nd fret bar going on. That's the most common. And so you can choose to do it either way that you like. Eventually you're going to want a bar because more advanced music has bars in it more often. So next let's move on to the 7th fret. Once you see this high B, and you will, it's this note right here. Once you see this, it always happens in this piece with the open 2nd and 3rd string. And so, luckily you don't have to do anything crazy while you're up there. It's the pinky, it's the 7th fret. And that's pretty much all there is to it. When you're shifting, here's something to think about. The tendency a lot of people have is to drag their thumb. So as you go up, you let your thumb slide like this. Don't do that. Move with the thumb, or even lead with the thumb so that you're moving more like this. And your hand stays in position. Ba, ba, da, da, da. The whole thing moves up as opposed to da, da, boom, and then go up like this. What happens is, and it's not that big of a deal with this piece, but it's a bad habit in general, and that is that once you get up, if you do it this way, where your thumb slides, when your thumb drags, when you shift up, then it puts your hand in a non-optimal position. So then if you have to grab a chord or something up there, then your hand is out of position and it's very weak. It's weakened by going up there. So best to just move with your entire thumb hand mechanism. It's a big muscle motion. It's like your shoulder, your elbow, it's a big motion instead of a finger hand motion to shift in general. The other one more thing we're going to talk about here, at the very end of the piece we have a harmonic. And the harmonic you play, and we'll talk about this later too, but the harmonic you play, this is going to be on the 7th fret, by just putting your pinky over the fret on the 2nd and 3rd strings and just barely touching right directly over the fret and then playing the strings very loud. So these three things are something that you can just practice outside of your practice of the sections, so that you can build them so that whenever you have them in the sections, then you can just pay attention to the other things within the sections as well. All right, have fun with that, and I will see you in the next one when we will talk about balancing chords.